We're staying in our office layout.dwg file, and we're going to take a look now at how we can quickly use rotate and scale to tidy up our office layout. Now, in the previous video, we did a bit of moving and copying, and you can see we've got some objects now in our office space. Look at this cubicle here. We're going to zoom in and get that nice and central on the screen so that we can see what we're doing. Now, you'll notice that the chair and the computer aren't really oriented correctly to the desk, so we need to rotate them. Now, before we do anything, pop down to your status bar. You want to go to your polar tracking here and click on the little flyout arrow and select 45-degree angle increments, that one there. Now, the reason I suggest that is if you look at this desk, it's got that 45-degree angle increment in the central section. So ideally, we want the chair and the computer rotated to align with that 45-degree line. And if we've got polar tracking set to 45 degrees, it's going to make our lives a lot easier. So select the computer, click on it, and like we did before, once you've selected it, right-click and go to Rotate, like so. Now, it'll ask for a base point. A lot of the modify tools do. I'm going to use that little midpoint snap there in the center of the computer monitor and left-click. Now, as I rotate my mouse around in a circular motion, can you see each of the polar tracking lines kicks in? And I get a 45-degree angle line kicking off that way. One of the increments of 45 degrees is 135 degrees. As soon as you see that polar tracking kick in, just make sure you stay on the tracking line and left-click. There you go. Rotated quickly and easily. Now, you can rotate by typing in an angle value. All you've got to do is remember that counterclockwise by default in AutoCAD is a positive angle value. Going clockwise normally is a negative angle value by default in AutoCAD. But I've got polar tracking, so I don't need to think about that. So I select the chair, like so, and again, right-click and rotate. Now, what I would do here is just pick a point randomly in the center of the chair and left-click. And as you rotate round in a circle, can you see you get each increment of 45 degrees? So as you come down this way, you got 315 degrees on the polar tracking there. Left click, job done. Now the chair's a bit too far away from the desk. Click on the chair, just click on that grip there and just move it a little bit. You can move it freehand. Just get it roughly towards the desk a bit and left click again. Hit escape to deselect it. Now it looks neat and tidy. Now somebody can sit in that chair and face the computer. Now, zoom out slightly. We've got our great big pot plant here. Now, a lot of these big pot plants are used as privacy in an office cubicle environment. And you can see why. That pot plant gives you a bit of privacy with your desk there. But wouldn't it be nice to have a bit of greenery sitting there on this part of the desk here, perhaps? So let's take a look at how we do that. We're going to select the pot plant first. And then it's a case of right-click and copy selection. Now, the base point will be that intersection that we used previously when we did the move and the copy. So as you can see there, I'm copying that. Now, before we copy it, just pop down to your status bar. And as you do so, you'll see the plant stops moving. You want to make sure that this is on. You want your auto snap, your object snap tracking on. Make sure it's on. As you come back into the drawing, you pick up the plant again. Hover over the midpoint there. See the midpoint snap there on that edge of the desk? And then hover over the midpoint of this section of the desk here. As you drag to the left, you'll see the intersection of the two tracking lines. Just left click and then enter to finish the copy command. So we've copied our plant onto the desk. It's a bit big for the desk though, isn't it? It's trying to grow into the wall. So we select the pot plant. And we right click, and again on the shortcut menu, scale is there as well. So we click on scale. Scale is also available on the modify panel if you want to go down that route. So I'm going to go here to my little intersection in the middle again. There it is there. Use that as the base point and left click. And then as I move in and out, can you see I'm making it bigger and smaller? Now the scale factor that we want it to be a little bit smaller than the original. So we're going to go for 0.6. It's going to be 60% of its original size. Press enter and it sits nicely on the desk. So not only have we got our privacy plant, but we've got our little pot plant on our desk as well. Now just pan upwards a tiny bit so that everything is central on the screen. Select your newly rotated chair and computer and select your newly scaled desk plant like that. Right click and go to copy selection. Now this time we're going to select a common base point. It's going to be this corner of the desk here. See that endpoint snap? Left click and then drag it to this desk. Same endpoint snap there. Left click. Enter to finish, and you've copied everything over. How quick is that? I don't have to do it over and over again. I can do my rotate, my copy, my scale, and then I just copy everything I've just worked on and drop it onto another desk. That's the benefit of AutoCAD. Imagine having to do that on a drawing board 20 odd years ago. Now that's where I started off with AutoCAD many years ago, and I've been using AutoCAD for 36 years this year, and little tools like move, copy, rotate and scale still make me smile now because of the amount of time I know they're saving me, the productivity that they're giving me when I'm working in my AutoCAD drawings.